Let them sleep on you. Let them doubt you. Let them scroll past your silence like it means nothing, because that's where you become dangerous. The loud ones crumble when pressure mounts, but you're sculpting greatness in the quiet, brick by unseen brick. The world isn't watching, and that is your advantage. No spotlight, no noise. Just the relentless rhythm of grind and grit echoing through the darkness. You owe them nothing, not your plans, not your progress, and certainly not your permission. Validation. That's a prison dressed as praise. Chained by the need to be seen, most waste their flame trying to please shadows. But not you. You are your own spark, your own storm, your own reckoning. And when they finally look your way, when the silence breaks under the weight of what you built, they won't hear words. They'll hear the sound of reality shifting. Results. Unenurable. Unapologetic. Undeniable. So vanish. Work. Evolve. And let your absence become their alarm. They told you to speak your dreams into existence, to shout your goals from rooftops, to post your progress, track your triumphs, hashtag your hustle until the whole damn world knows your name. But you've tried that, haven't you? And what did it give you? Empty congratulations, superficial applause, people pretending they cared. Yet behind their smiles, behind the claps and fire emojis, they were waiting. Not to see you win. No. They were waiting for you to fail, to stumble, to drown in your own declarations. Because the more you speak, the more they know. And the more they know, the more they can destroy. You gave them everything, your fire, your hunger, your hope, one post at a time. And in return, doubt, distraction, delay. Because words cost nothing to them, but they cost everything to you. So now, silence, not peace. This isn't the silence of serenity. It's not gentle or soft. This silence is a blade. A blackened void sharpened by pain and molded by solitude. It's where real ones go to become. Because silence doesn't beg for attention. It builds it. Quietly, ruthlessly, completely. You don't owe the world your timeline. You owe yourself your transformation. Every second spent explaining your path to people who will never walk it, that's a second stolen from the war you're waging inside. The war to stay focused, to stay ruthless, to become undeniable. You don't need their motivation. You don't need their opinions. What you need is to lock yourself in the furnace of your own ambition and burn until the ash itself becomes gold. No witnesses. No applause. Just sweat on your back and fire in your lungs. Because the loud ones, they fade. Fast. All sizzle, no flame. Their noise is distraction. Their shine is artificial. But you're the darkness before the storm. You're the quiet before the world shifts. They won't see you coming. That's the point. You've become a ghost in the system, working in the cracks, breathing in silence, shedding every ounce of weakness beneath the weight of your own expectations. Because true strength doesn't beg to be seen. It forces the world to watch when it's already too late to stop it. Your silence is sacred. It's your sanctuary. It's the forge where your demons scream, your doubts die, and your destiny begins. Let them mock you. Let them think you've quit. Let them believe you've failed. That's the illusion you want them to swallow. Because behind every quiet day, there's been 100 battles. And behind every ignored night, there's been 1,000 victories in the dark. You are not empty. You are not stagnant. You are building. And when you rise, it will not be with a whisper. It will be an eruption, an unstoppable reckoning of everything they never expected but now can't escape. So stay silent. Stay dangerous. Because results don't speak. They roar. And now, in that brutal silence, as you burn what no longer serves you and sharpen what remains, another truth creeps in, colder than steel and just as unyielding. Validation is a trap. And it's time we tear that illusion apart, piece by poisoned piece. They dress it up like encouragement, like support, a like, a retweet, a compliment, a cheer from the sidelines. But don't be fooled, validation is not fuel. It's a leash. And every time you reach for it, you tighten the collar around your own neck. It feels good at first. Praise warms the ego like fire does frozen hands. You crave it. That acknowledgement, that moment where someone says, yes, you're doing great. You're enough. But it's a lie. A drug. Sweet, addictive, and deadly in slow doses. Because the moment they withhold it, you collapse. You gave your power away, piece by fragile piece, in exchange for approval from people who wouldn't bleed for your battles, who wouldn't sacrifice what you do just to survive the next step. And you let their words shape your worth. You let silence break your spirit. You let disinterest crush your drive. But here's the thing no one tells you while they smile and clap. They were never clapping for you. They were clapping for the illusion of effort. The world doesn't care about your rise. It doesn't care about your pain. It doesn't care how many nights you stayed awake trying to put yourself back together while everyone else slept in peace. They're not watching your story. They're too deep in their own tragedies. And that's the most brutal freedom you'll ever find. You are not owed attention. You are not entitled to support. You are not guaranteed applause. But you are without question the one soul responsible for giving your life meaning. For giving your battles weight. For crowning your scars with purpose. No one is coming. That's not meant to crush you. That's meant to liberate you. Because if no one is watching, there's no one to impress. If no one is tracking your steps, you're free to stumble without shame. If no one is grading your progress, there's no limit to how far you can stretch into the unknown. You become untouchable when you no longer beg to be seen. Let them ignore you. Let them misunderstand. Let them laugh. Their opinion is a passing breeze, and you are the storm coming over the ridge, unshakable, unrelenting, uninvited. You want to know what real freedom feels like. It's the moment you realize you don't need anyone's nod to chase what sets your soul on fire. It's waking up hungry, not for praise but for progress. It's staring in the mirror and whispering, "I'm enough," and knowing you mean it even if no one else ever says it back. Give yourself permission. Crown yourself. Approve of yourself. Validate your own damn soul. Because when the world doesn't clap, when the crowd forgets your name, when the spotlight turns cold and quiet, you won't fold. You'll still rise. You'll rise because you weren't performing, you were transforming. And in that silence, you become unstoppable. But don't get too comfortable, because the world's indifference isn't done with you yet. There's one more brutal truth we need to face. One more fracture in the illusion that must be broken open if you are going to finish this war. Brace yourself. Because now comes the hardest truth of all. The world doesn't care. And that's your greatest weapon. They don't see you. Not really. They pass you by on the street, scroll past your silence online, maybe glance at your life from a safe distance, but they're not watching. They're not counting your sacrifices. They don't hear the screams behind your composure, or feel the weight you drag with every step. They are too busy surviving. Just like you. Just like everyone. So stop waiting. Stop hoping someone notices the fight you've been throwing punches in for years. Because no one's keeping score, and that might just be the greatest gift they've ever given you. When no one's watching, there are no expectations to meet but your own. When no one's cheering, there's no pressure to perform, just the raw, unfiltered reality of what you're building, day by blood-slick day. In the absence of attention, you are free to become. That's where real power lives. Not in applause. In anonymity. Because the world doesn't care who you might become. They only react to results when they're shoved in their faces, when your work is so loud, so undeniable, that silence becomes their only refuge. Until then, you are invisible. And that invisibility, it is your sanctuary. In the shadows, you make mistakes without shame. You fail without an audience. You experiment. You evolve. You dig through the rot of your past and sculpt something unrecognizable from the bones. There's no one to impress. No one to entertain. No rules but your own. The path isn't glamorous. No filters, no fairy dust. Just grit in your teeth and dirt under your fingernails. But that's where the real ones are made, in the grime. In the dark. Alone. And once you realize that no one is tracking your progress, you stop moving for others. You stop measuring yourself against timelines that were never yours. You stop asking for directions on a road only your soul was born to walk. You start moving like a ghost, but building like a god. Because success was never about them. Not their expectations. Not their opinions. Not their validation. Success is about the promises you make to yourself when no one's around to hear them. It's about becoming someone you'd respect when everything else is stripped away. It's not about being seen. It's about seeing yourself, clear and raw and wild, and choosing to rise anyway. So let the world look away. Let them underestimate. Let them forget you exist. You are not here to be remembered. You are here to be reborn. And in the furnace of your solitude, something is rising. Relentless, ruthless, rebuilt. You were never meant to be noticed. You were meant to be unleashed. And this is only the beginning. They call it mystery. They call it secrecy. They say, "Why so quiet?" as if silence means stagnation. As if the absence of noise means the absence of movement. But in the dark, you evolve. No announcements. No headlines. Just hunger. Because you finally understand something most never will. Power is not in being seen. It's in being underestimated. It's in being forgotten, overlooked, dismissed while you sharpen your edge behind the curtain. Every time you stay silent about what you're building, you trap your enemies in ignorance. You leave them blind while you prepare. And that blindness, that's your camouflage. That's your shield. That's your permission to destroy without warning. You don't need to prove yourself to anyone. You don't owe them updates. You don't need their opinions. Why? Because while they waste hours posting, bragging, flexing for approval, you're moving. Quietly. Methodically. Lethally. While they chase applause, you're chasing precision. You learned the game. You studied the field. And now you hunt. Every move calculated. Every word held hostage. Because when they know nothing about you, they can't sabotage it. Can't compete with it. Can't defend against it. Let them wonder. Let them guess. Let them underestimate you. You've become a phantom in their world, a shadow that refuses to be captured, a silence too heavy to ignore. You smile while they sleep. You train while they party. You sacrifice while they seek comfort, and one day, you'll strike. Not with words. Not with noise. With results. With impact. With a storm so precise they'll swear it came from nowhere. But it didn't come from nowhere. It came from silence. Your silence. The same silence that buried your distractions. That extinguished your need to be liked. That killed every last piece of you still chained to who you used to be. And when it's time, you won't even need to explain yourself. Because by then, your success will scream loud enough to shatter everything they thought they knew. You'll be the storm they never saw coming. The force they never prepared for. The proof that while they were distracted, you were becoming inevitable. So don't flinch. Don't waver. Don't apologize. The less they know, the more power you hold. And now, in the heart of that sacred silence you forged like armor, one truth remains like a heartbeat beneath the chaos. They forgot about you. They weren't watching. Perfect. Because that's exactly how legends are born. Distractions don't walk in screaming, they creep in quiet. Wrapped in comfort. Dressed like opportunity. They whisper, just 5 more minutes. They disguise themselves as rest, as connection, as necessity. But in truth, they're parasites, feeding off your potential, dragging your ambition through molasses, smiling in your face while they steal every ounce of intensity from your pulse. And you let them. Because facing the raw silence of your own becoming is terrifying. Because cutting off the noise means confronting the truth of how far you've yet to go, and how long you've been stalling. So you scroll. You binge. You chase validation. You stay busy. You drown the hunger beneath waves of stimulation and wonder why the hunger still screams at midnight. But the truth is brutal. If you don't cut the rot, it will devour the entire tree. This isn't about optimizing your calendar. This is war. And in war, distractions are the enemy wearing your face, holding your phone, sitting across from you with a fake smile and hollow intentions. They are not neutral. They are not passive. They are aggressively stealing your life in slow motion. And you're watching it happen. You don't need more motivation. You don't need another quote, another hype video, another surge of dopamine to make it to Monday. You need surgical focus. You need to gut the dead weight. You need to learn the difference between exhaustion and avoidance, between recovery and rotting in place. Ask yourself what is still in your life that would not survive a version of you fully committed to your potential. Then rip it out. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Now. Delete the app, block the number. Cut off the conversation. Say no to the invitation. Close the tab. Burn the bridge. Let them hate you. Let them misunderstand. Let them talk. Let them all go. Because your future is not worth sacrificing for their comfort. Your vision is not negotiable. Every moment spent explaining yourself to distractions is a moment lost in building the version of you that doesn't need to explain at all. And yes, it will hurt. It always does when you sever pieces of yourself that you once called necessary. But on the other side of that grief, there is freedom. There is power. There is clarity. You've always had the potential. You were just too surrounded to hear it scream. And when the noise dies down and the room goes silent, you'll feel it in your bones. That terrifying, exhilarating truth that you are capable of more than you've ever dared to believe. But only if you're willing to walk alone in the fire that burns everything you don't need. So burn it. Because rising isn't a performance. It's a purge. And now, what's left? The fire's lit. The silence holds. The noise is gone. All that remains is you. Unburdened. Unforgiving. Unfinished. Comfort is seductive. It wraps itself around you like a warm blanket in a cold room, telling you you've earned this rest, whispering that you've done enough, that you are enough. And for a while, It feels true. You breathe a little easier. You slow your pace. You tell yourself, I'll push harder tomorrow. But tomorrow doesn't come. Not the way it should. Because every second you spend lying in that comfort is a second the fire inside you cools. And that's the trap. The world doesn't kill your greatness all at once. It lulls it to sleep. Slowly. Quietly. With gifts of ease. With indulgences you deserve. With the illusion that progress can happen without pain. And it works. Because suffering is lonely. Discipline is isolating. Growth hurts. It tears you open. It rips old identities out by the root. It drags you through fire and demands you keep walking while everything you were burns behind you. And that's why most people stop. That's why most people settle. Not because they can't, but because they won't. Because when it's time to choose between comfort and chaos, they fold. But not you. You've seen what comfort does. You've felt its poison dressed as peace. And now, you want the pain. You need the pain. Because you understand something the world has forgotten. Pain is proof you're on the edge of something bigger. Every ache in your bones, every tear you swallow, every sacrifice you carve into your soul, it all means you're getting closer. You're stretching beyond what you were told was possible. You're breaking your old self into dust so something greater can emerge. Discipline. That's your backbone now. You don't wait to feel like it. You move anyway. You show up anyway. You train, build, grind even when your hands shake and your mind begs for mercy. Because you no longer crave comfort. You crave evolution. The world will keep tempting you. It'll hand you distractions, shortcuts, soft places to land when you're tired. And it will do so with a smile. But behind that smile is a coffin crafted for potential never realized, dreams never pursued, strength never awakened. Because complacency doesn't feel like death until it's already claimed you. So don't settle. Don't breathe easy. Don't dare make a home where growth cannot live. Live where it burns. Sit in the furnace. Let the pressure crush you, then use the dust to forge a new foundation. Find your limits and break them. Find your weaknesses and weaponize them. Tear down the walls you built for survival and build new ones for war. Greatness isn't gentle. It's not gifted. It's not born in smiles and comfort. It's earned, every brutal inch, in the silence of early mornings, the sting of sacrifice, the fire of discipline that doesn't stop when it hurts. It starts because it hurts. And when the comfort creeps back in, whispering its lullabies, burn it. Because if you are not bleeding for your future, you're being buried by your past. Now the flames are lit. The comfort is gone. But there's still one thing left standing between you and what you were born to become, you. They want the crown, but not the crucifix. They worship success like it's a god, flashy, golden, glorious. But what they ignore is the altar it demands. The blood, the time, the solitude, The sacrifice. Everyone wants the glory, but no one wants to bleed. No one wants to crawl. No one wants to be devoured by the silence of a dream that may never materialize, not unless someone else is watching. But you're different. You've chosen the path of no applause, the brutal climb no one documents. And not because you enjoy pain, but because you understand it. Because you respect the fire that forges greatness more than the crowd that praises it. And in a world where everyone is sprinting toward shortcuts, you planted your feet and said, "No. I'll climb the whole mountain barefoot if I have to." Why? Because easy is rented. And real success demands payment in full. The sleepless nights that blur into dawn. The meals skipped. The relationships lost. The parties missed. The tears wiped where no one could see. The doubt, the voice that never shuts up, whispering, "Quit, you've done enough." But you don't. You won't. You've sacrificed your comfort, your former self, the version of you that craved praise and permission. You've murdered that weakness in cold blood and buried it where no one will ever find it. Because this isn't about being remembered. It's about becoming irreplaceable. Understand this. Every step forward costs something. A piece of your old identity. A piece of your old life. And the ones who rise the highest aren't the most talented or lucky, they're the ones who were willing to pay more. More isolation. More sweat. More self-doubt turned into grit. While others danced in distractions, you were suffering in solitude, learning how to carry pain like armor, discipline like religion, and focus like a weapon. And you're still here, still climbing, still breathing through the burn. Because you realized that sacrifice isn't something to be feared, it's something to be wielded. That it doesn't take from you, it refines you. And every piece of comfort you leave behind is another brick in the empire you're building. So let them settle. Let them run from the storm. You'll become it. Because in the end, when the smoke clears and the noise fades, and the world finally looks your way, it won't be because you begged them to notice. It'll be because you endured what they couldn't. And that is what makes you unstoppable. The war was never out there. Not in the offices or arenas. Not in the battles you post or the enemies you name. The war, the real one, has always been between your ears, behind your ribs, beneath the surface where no one claps and no one cares. It's you, against yourself. And every day, one of you wins. There is a version of you that wants control, wants dominance, wants legacy. That version gets up early, says no to distractions, pushes when it hurts and bleeds for something bigger than comfort. But there's another version, the weaker one, the addict, the liar, the one who makes excuses look like logic and calls laziness self-care, the one who scrolls instead of builds, delays instead of decides, and masks fear as not the right time. You feed one, you starve the other. That's it. That's the formula. Because your mind is not your friend, it's your battlefield. And every thought is either a weapon or a wound. The habits you ignore become the chains you drag. The time you waste becomes the regret you carry. The comfort you worship becomes the prison you live in. Master yourself or be owned by cravings you couldn't conquer, by dreams you let die in distractions, by talent that rotted in hesitation. Everyone wants to rise, but very few are willing to chain their inner chaos and command it to kneel. Because self-mastery isn't glamorous. It's brutal. It means setting boundaries that make others uncomfortable. It means sacrificing momentary pleasure for long-term purpose. It means getting up when nothing in you wants to move, and showing up when no one's watching. It means becoming the parent to your own potential. Because if you don't lead yourself, your weakness will. This is the final crucible. You've been silent. You've cut the noise. You've burned the comfort. You've made sacrifices. But now it's time to rule the mind that built the empire. It's time to grab the reins and drive yourself into destiny with the discipline of a damn tyrant. No more negotiating with doubt. No more deals with distraction. No more room for the version of you that flinches when things get hard. You are the master, or you are mastered. There is no middle. So rise. Crown yourself. Conquer the only enemy that ever truly mattered. You. They'll call you crazy. Too intense. Too focused. Too much. They'll say you're unbalanced, that you're pushing too hard, that you should live a little. But they don't understand. They never did. Because to them, obsession is a flaw. To you it's fuel. You weren't built for average. You were forged for absolute. You don't wake up with hopes. You wake up with instructions. Every breath, every step, every thought is calculated, aligned, brutally disciplined. Because the thing inside you, the fire, it doesn't flicker. It consumes. While they negotiate with mediocrity, you made a vow. While they chase convenience, you chase something you can't even fully name yet, something massive, something final. Because you know what they don't. Results don't lie. Words are wind. Promises vanish. Hype dies. But results, they leave scars. And the only thing that births results at that scale is obsession. You're not kind to your limits. You don't ask them to move. You rip them out, root and bone, and keep going. Because greatness isn't achieved in balance, it's achieved in sacrifice. In the missed calls, the sleepless nights, the isolation, the ruthless prioritizing of what matters over what pleases. You let go of everything that doesn't sharpen your blade. You don't need a vacation from your vision. You become it. Because obsession doesn't apologize. It doesn't need justification. And it sure as hell doesn't wait for permission. It devours your time, your peace, your comfort, until all that's left is a weaponized version of yourself, relentless, focused, undeniable. That's who they'll see when it's done. Not the one who begged to be noticed. but the one who demanded to be remembered. Let them rest. Let them laugh. Let them live soft, distracted lives. You'll be building legacy while they're building excuses. Because this isn't about work ethic anymore. This is about identity. You don't do the work. You are the work. And no force on earth can compete with a soul that has merged fully with its mission. So go ahead, obsess. Grind when it hurts. Push when it breaks. And give the world only one option when it finally looks your way. Respect. They won't clap for you here. There are no cheers in this trench. No spotlights in this silence. Just you raw, bleeding, alone with nothing but your own grit to dig through the darkness. And that's exactly where success is born. Not in celebration, not in recognition, but in the pit, in the isolation, in the fight no one sees. Everyone wants the crown until they see the crucible. This journey, this climb, it's not poetic. It's not inspirational. It's a war behind closed doors. While the world scrolls and sleeps, you're breaking apart in private, shattering who you were, rebuilding who you must become. And no one notices. No one asks. No one cares. They won't know how many nights you suffered in silence. How many times you almost quit, almost caved, almost screamed into the void and disappeared. Because this battle, it's yours alone. There is no map, no guide, just pain and repetition. Just quiet mornings where you drag yourself forward by the spine because there's no one else to do it. Just nights you close your eyes with fists clenched, whispering, "One more day. Just one more." And somewhere in that darkness, somewhere in that unholy solitude, something starts to shift. You begin to adapt, to harden, to burn. You stop asking for help and start commanding your next breath like a weapon. You stop chasing support and start staring your demons in the eye, not as enemies but as teachers. You learn that resilience isn't loud. It's the ability to stay standing when the storm forgets your name. It's the silence between the setbacks. It's the willingness to keep bleeding when there's no audience left to impress. Because here's the truth. Greatness doesn't rise in the light. It becomes the light by enduring the dark long enough to birth it. So carry your own scars. Stitch them shut with discipline. Fuel your fire with failure. Stop needing to be understood. You are not here to be understood. You are here to be unleashed. They'll see the results one day and ask, "How did you do it?" And you'll smile. Because the answer is one they'll never be willing to hear. You did it alone. In the dark. For no one but yourself. You've seen the fire. You've felt the silence. You've walked through the storm alone and came out forged, not broken. This is dark triumphs where shadows build strength, and pain breeds power. Here, we don't chase motivation. We become it. No masks. No sugarcoating. Just raw, brutal truths for those willing to earn their place in this world with blood, grit, and obsession. So if you're still here, if your bones are vibrating with that quiet rage to rise, then this is your home. Because in this place, we don't fear the dark. We dominate in it. Welcome to the fight. Welcome to Dark Triumphs.